I want to pose a question to you guys.
Okay.
Between Jubilee and Psylocke have actually appeared in multiple X-Men movies. Jubilee has been in several of them. Lana Condor plays her in American Apocalypse. I'm thinking about the election. X-Men Apocalypse, and Olivia Munn plays Psylocke. Now, this is not. I wouldn't fault the actresses for this, but why, with multiple appearances of these characters, why have the X-Men movies not been able to get either Psylocke or Jubilee right? Joshua, what are your thoughts on all that?
I feel like they're just so invested in the main cast, the most iconic cast, which is Cyclops, Jean, Wolverine, Magneto, Professor X. Like they really want to trade on those names because if you're putting hundreds of millions of dollars into a movie, you want to use the safe bets. That said, it seems really weird not to use these other characters that have been huge hits in the comic books. And Jubilee, she's like the gateway character, right? You should put her like front and center in these movies. Not to mention the fact that she is an Asian American character. There's not a lot of those on screen, and it's a lot to even get them in the movies, and then so to cast them in the movie, make it seem like they're gonna have a part, and then take it away. Same thing with Psylocke, although her story is really weird because she was a white woman, like an English woman, who was put in the body of a Japanese ninja, which is really weird.
Unless we get Olivia Munn.
Yeah, that's what we get Olivia Munn.
So they split the difference and get an Asian American.
Yeah, it's just so it's really weird. It's just sad for these minority characters to be cast in these movies and be given such little roles and be not adapted faithfully from the comic books. Like they were essentially just like Jubilee was just there for what, a line?
Well, she never says her name.
Yes.
You never see her use her powers. She never says her name. You have no idea who she is. It's the fact that
for the end of the movie.
She naps throughout most of the movie on the lawn, she was stoned at a concert or something. If it wasn't for the fact that she was the wearing a yellow jacket and was the sole Asian. Psylocke's in there. You probably wouldn't remember her, but they cut out the mall sequence where that could have developed their characters, maybe added some to the camaraderie and the humor of the whole piece. And then Psylocke is just a straight-up villain. Even at the end, the little way she's skulking off.
Yeah. Are they building her up to be something else? Because I don't care. Like she was completely one-dimensional in every way. And I mean, I think it was bad form a bit on Olivia Munn's part to come out and make the comments about how she didn't take the role of Vanessa in Daredevil because she didn't want to be a love Deadpool. God, I'm just like mixing all my names
there is
up.
a Vanessa in Daredevil. Vanessa Fisk.
In Deadpool, because she didn't just want to be a love interest. And first of all, that's a little bit tacky to come out and say that. It's wait 20 years, but also then you see those two movies side by side, and it's like Vanessa is the part, that's the one who actually is a character.
And an arc.
But I think you're right. I think you're right about the fact that these movies are repeatedly only invested in 5 or 6 X-Men that they consider to be the moneymakers because those are the ones who were in the first movie. And to build up these characters and do them justice, you need to invest time in them. And the fact that we know so much of at least Jubilee's material, but maybe some of Psylocke's too, was cut from the movie. It's clear that they're not willing to take a risk on new X-Men and expand the core cast.
Yeah, she would have been great if for an X-Force movie or something. Give her a proper, fully developed character. Although I will take issue with you on not wanting to be a love interest.
Well, I think on paper, yes, but now you see those movies and you
that
realize...
wasn't her fault that they didn't give her a good part. I thought for what they gave her, she showed up, she did what she had to do. I thought she looked great in her action scenes and what they did with her powers.
But is that the character to you? Huh? Did they get the spirit of Psylocke right?
No. They did not. But I don't blame her for that. And I say that's great that you're here as this powerful, deadly force in this movie and not a girlfriend, because that is 90% of the roles for lead women are to be the girlfriend or the one who gets saved. And she was there kicking butt, and she looked like she had a vendetta in the end. So even though that's not faithful to the comic book, I feel like it wasn't her fault.
But couldn't they just have named her any other
Well, then you get Lady
mutant
Deathstrike,
character.
which is even like worse. They like butchered
Yeah.
that character horribly.
Yeah.
And again, this is just not having enough time and space to devote to these characters, but the need to put them in to, I don't know, satisfy the fandom.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think that brings us to the.
Well, I did
thing,
quickly
yeah.
want to say the Deadpool thing. I totally agree with you about the fact that on paper it's obviously you want to be the superhero or supervillain and not just a love interest and damsel in distress. My point was simply that now, since she put that out in the world, you look at those two characters and you see which was a more richly drawn character, and
Okay,
it almost
I
does
see that,
seem
yeah.
like she made
Yeah.
the wrong choice, because Vanessa would have given her a lot more to do than she got in this role. I also, going back to the makeover thing, because I'm never going to not find that, I'm never going to not find that funny. It's clear that like Apocalypse has the same worldview fashion sense that he did from way in the past, because God is that like, I'm like, you're a sexist, sir. Like, give her some pants.
You get pants, you get pants, you get a cape. Let's see your fanny. Like that was kind of like what it
Let's
came
see
down.
your fanny.
But I like that we can like build that context. Well, yeah, he's from ancient Egypt. That's what the ladies would have worn.
Now, what do you think it takes then to get a faithful Jubilee or Psylocke movie? Do you think they'll just recast those roles again for a future movie? Do you think should they pop up in maybe the New Mutants movie that we know is happening?
Well, I feel like the New Mutants, you want to service the New Mutants, right? Although there's the rumor that Storm could be either in that movie or make a cameo. It's a little unclear right now. So I think you might want to have one or two familiar faces, but then the rest you want to, because those are other characters, like Magic and Wolfsbane. Like you want to see those characters get their time and not have to share it with other characters who are never part of it. Just because you want to like use a pre-established character. That said, I feel like for New Mutants, you do the New Mutants, but there are places where these characters can be used. I feel like in the next X-Men movie, I feel like Jubilee there'll be less characters in it, so Jubilee could have a role there, like an actual role.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I feel like Psylocke would be a good fit for X-Force.
I have a question back to you with that though. Like, if you're talking about they've tried to do these characters a few times and they haven't really nailed them any time, I don't mean to break this to you guys, but there are a lot of X-Men. At what point do you just say, okay, we're just going to pass on Psylocke and Jubilee
I think the reason why those characters keep popping up is, one, the visual look, but two, generationally they appeal to the folks like, frankly, you guys who would have grown up with those characters from the cartoons and the comics. And they are some of the more notable female X-Men characters. So I feel like they're at least worth trying one more time to get them right. I just don't know. I agree with you, Joshua. I feel like until they can actually, maybe, once Hugh Jackman is finally actually retired from it and they have nowhere to go but bank on new people, maybe we won't actually get those kind of definitive portraits of them. But we want to know from you guys, were you disappointed with Psylocke and what the hell is that? Jubilee.
You can't even remember. She didn't leave an
Exactly.
impact.
Well, she didn't say her name. How am I supposed to remember? So, were you disappointed with Jubilee and Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse? What have you been disappointed with? Sort of the way they've never been done, right? Let us know in the comments.